Hello everyone! The Burning Legion has invaded Azeroth once again, and Priest, they're able to pick up 3 different artifacts to empower them in this war. For Shadow Priest, it's going to be one of my favorite artifacts, even though I probably don't pronounce it right, Xal'atath, Blade of the Black Empire. It's a Lance's Foul, who informs us about an ancient dagger of the old gods that just resurfaced in a bid to restore the Twilight's Hammer to power. They're performing an unholy ritual near Tyr's tomb that must be stopped, and interestingly enough, this artifact quest seems to take place after the warriors have been there, together with the spirits of Foradin. Now these cultists, they're trying to resurrect the beast that warriors have slain, and in their possession is the Blade of the Black Empire. This is a powerful void-attuned sacrificial dagger that has been used in horrific rites to the old gods since time immemorial. It enhances its owners with powerful shadow energy, so it should be perfect for us. But before we go and meet up with Moira's double agent, who's inside the cult, let's first talk about the history of the weapon, since it's quite a good one.
The blade was taken somewhere in northwestern Tirisfal. I've marked a location on your map where you can begin your search.
Xal'atath had a dark genesis in an age long before the Horde and the Alliance, an age when the legendary old gods and the Black Empire, it engulfed the world in shadow. There are many theories concerning the blade's creation. The more outlandish claim that it's all that remains of a forgotten old god who was consumed by its kin in the early days of the Black Empire. Other theories state that Xal'atath is the claw of Y'Shaarj, ripped from the old god's monstrous form and bestowed upon its servants for use in ritual sacrifices. As unbelievable as these stories are, perhaps there is a truth to them. Xal'atath, it pulses with the foul essence of the old gods. It is even said that the blade can grant its owner visions of the Black Empire, but all who have looked upon such horrors, they have lost themselves to madness. Another nice touch to this is that before the Chronicles, we had 5 evil gods imprisoned beneath the world. They've retconned this to 4 with Kafun, Y'Shaarj, Y'Shaarj and N'Zoth, so perhaps the earlier mentioned 5th old god, that one is actually this blade. Either way, mighty beings known as the Titanforge, they eventually defeated the Black Empire. They shackled the old gods and their minions imprisoned beneath the earth, and harmony descended on Azeroth, but it was not to last. The blade that remained in the world passed from mortal hand to mortal hand, and leaving only death and chaos in its wake. One of the unfortunate souls who took up Xal'atath was a troll named Xando. The ambitious witch doctor hailed from the mighty Gurubashi tribe, and his rivals had ousted him from a position of power and prestige. Xando spent his days nursing dreams of retribution. It was a simple thing for Xal'atath to latch on to Xando's anger and twist him into a pawn. Guided by Xal'atath's whispers, Xando and a handful of loyal witch doctors, they sought out a strange mound of blackened stone. Troll mystics had forbidden their people from disturbing this site, but Xando ignored the taboo. He believed the mount held great power that he could use to defeat his rivals. He and his followers would soon discover what the mount really was, the body of a slumbering servant of the old gods named Kafix. Zafix and Zakash, they were sent out to kill Titankeeper Tyr and his companions, but Tyr heroically sacrificed himself. He expended his life force in a blinding explosion of arcane energy that shook the bones of the world. This explosion created a giant crater with the lifeless bodies of Tyr and Zakash, while Zifix, he had only narrowly escaped Tyr's vengeful wrath, and he collapsed into a deep hibernation, where now Xando, under the guidance of Xal'atath, they have started making blood offerings to the creature. With his mind corrupted by the blade, the witch doctor did not hesitate. He dismembered some of his companions with the dagger, and then he used the blood and organs as reagents to awaken the monstrosity. In the final act, Xando buried his gore-stained dagger into Zifix's hide, and the giant rumbled to life. Xando and his followers were never seen again. Trolls would later visit the site, and they found only scattered bones picked clean of flesh. Now after Zifix awakened, it brought the shadow of war upon Azeroth. The monstrous creature, he rallied other old god minions to its side, and he launched a campaign to grind troll civilization into dust. Unlike the trolls who had roused it, Zifix knew how to harness Xal'atath's true potential. Calling on the blade's power, the Kafrak spread pestilence among the trolls to weaken their bodies, and bombarded them with visions of death to weaken their minds. Though the trolls would eventually destroy Zifix and defeat its armies, Xal'atath would haunt the dreams of the war survivors until the end of their days. Many tribes would recount legends about the Black Blade that had nearly driven them to extinction. The next time that this dark dagger showed up in history is during the War of 3 Hammers. Dark Iron, Wildhammer and Bronzebeard, they had a civil war after the leader had died and their clans fractured. Motkut of the Dark Iron clan, she embraced her clan's long history of studying arcane magic. As the wife of Sorcerer Thane Fauruzan, she had first pick of the Dark Island's most powerful enchanted artifacts. Yet she was never quite satisfied with the offerings on hand. She would often dispatch her servants to find new relics that she could study and use as instruments in the creation of spells. One of these dwarves returned with a blade that thrummed with dark energy. Modgud was immediately taken by it. For days, she retreated into her archives to unravel the dagger's mysteries. At times, she could be seen talking to the weapon, and when she later emerged, Modgud called for the dwarf who had brought the blade in order to thank him. But no one could find him. No one could even remember his name or his face. It was as if he had simply vanished into thin air. Now when the Dark Iron and Wildhammers clashed at each other at Grimbatol, neither side showed the other mercy. The Wildhammers' bravery was their greatest weapon, and Modgud sought to take that away from them. Under the thunderous clash of hammer against axe, she screamed an incantation and she wove her profane spellwork. She slid her enchanted dagger over her palm, and she let her blood spill onto the stones. Modgud's foul ritual brought Grimbatol's shadows to life. They sprang from the city's dark nooks and crannies, falling upon the Wildhammers with blades forged of night. By some feat of courage, Thane Cardros rallied his remaining Wildhammer warriors, and they launched a desperate counterattack against the Dark Irons. Cardros pulled through his enemies with a single-minded focus of a war golem, only coming to a stop when he found Modgud. Here, the fate of Wildhammer the Dark Iron would be decided. The sorceress unleashed her dark power on Cardros, but he pressed his attack. Then Modgud reached for her black blade, the weapon that had turned Grimbatol into a den of nightmare. It was not there. She had lost her cherished weapon, or, as some would claim, the weapon had abandoned her. With one mighty blow of his hammer, Cardros mortally wounded Modgud, and he secured victory for the Wildhammers. It is said that as the sorceress lay dying, she repeated one phrase over and over again. "You promised." The shadows unleashed within Grimbatol that would haunt the place even after Modgud's death, and the Wildhammer, after teaming up with the Bronzebeards and defeating the Dark Iron clan, they decided to move from Grimbatol into the hinterlands. Decades after Modgud lost Xal'atath, the blade was taken up by a human bishop named Natalie Celine. She had lived through the First War, when the Orcish horde invaded Azeroth and conquered Stormwind. Now after the war, Celine realized that to defeat the green-skinned orcs, humanity would need to study the strange powers that they wielded. She closely examined their magic, and she visited battle sites where the dark arts had befouled the land. From her investigations, she learned of an otherworldly blade that the orcs had once used in their blood rituals, a blade that held sway over the shadows themselves. Troubled that such a profane weapon could exist, Celine swore to hunt it down and destroy it in the name of the light. As you might know by now, Celine had quite a change of heart in between, and she stepped away from the light to embrace the shadows and lead the formation of the Cult of Forgotten Shadows. This is taken from The Secrets of the Void, written by Natalie Celine. The moment I touched the blade, a name was spoken in my mind: Xal'atath. I knew then that I could not destroy the dagger. Not yet. How can one defeat a power she does not understand? And I had much to understand, very much indeed. Xal'atath whispered to me in waking and in dreaming. It taught me that there is more to this world than just light. There is also void. In the ebb and flow between these two forces, one can find power and knowledge beyond anything that the Church of the Holy Light has ever revealed to us. One can cross the divide between light and void. One can pull strands from each side and weave a tapestry of day and night. Of course, there are consequences. There always are when walking in the shadows. Now, by the time of the Second War, Natalie Celine had learned how to wield shadow magic from Xal'atath. She in turn had taught her dangerous arts to other worshippers of the light, and she rallied them against the Horde. Celine and her followers, they waged the war in secret, hunting down orcs across the human kingdoms. Xal'atath continued whispering in Celine's mind, slowly unraveling her sanity. Despite her noble intentions, she became more and more obsessed with the blade and the mysteries of the void. And so did Celine's companions. They were overzealous in their campaign against the orcs, putting innocent lives at risk. Some strayed too far into the shadow, forsaking the light completely. Though Celine urged her followers to use caution, her calls were ignored and even treated with suspicion. It's unclear exactly what happened to the former bishop, but some sources state that Xal'atath incited a rebellion among her allies. It convinced them that Celine was holding them back from their true potential, holding back knowledge and power that they could have if they killed her. In the dead of night, the conspirators murdered Celine and they took Xal'atath for themselves. For years, the Kinator Magi in Dalaran, they'd watched Natalie Celine, greatly troubled by her dark teachings. Now after her death, they set out to scour her writings from history. Magi picked through the villages and cities that Celine had traveled. They gathered up every scroll and tome that she had penned. The Kinator hid these writings in Dalaran, hoping that would be the end of Celine's dangerous brand of magic. Yet despite their efforts, they could not bury the doctrine of balance that she had preached. In the years to come, others would take up her teachings and devote themselves to the light and the void. The Magi also knew of Xal'atath, but they never found it. Like Celine's teachings, the blade would not simply fade away. It had more minds to twist, more pawns to use, and more innocents to terrorize. This blade has had a hand in a lot of major events of Warcraft history, and now it resurfaced again in the hands of the Twilight Hammer cult. We fly over to the camp to do a bit of investigation, and the clues in the camp, they speak about a new leader. Once the hand of the Twilight Father, Archbishop Benedictus, which you might remember fighting during the Cataclysm, the Shadow Deacon has decided that now is the time to regain the past glory. While the Twilight Father left to serve Deathwing, the Shadow Deacon maintained his role as a bishop in Stormwind. He continued infiltration and recruitment efforts there for some time until the fall of Deathwing and the Twilight Father. He then ordered what was left of their organization to go quiet and allow their foes their temporary victory. But then he found it, or perhaps it found him. The Black Blade, Xal'atath. It has led them to the spot where Zivik's companion Zakash has fallen to tear, and they're working on resurrecting him. Warriors have gone through a lot of trouble of putting the beast down, so let's head into the tomb and make sure that their plans fail.
We have an intruder.
Excellent. I was expecting him, but I don't think you were.
What? You traitor!
Moira said you'd be coming. I'm Slaghammer, paying my family's debt by hanging out with these buggers. Let me take down this barrier. The Shadow Deacon's already below starting his ritual. To get there, we'll need to do a bit of work. If you have any questions, let me know. But we'd best hurry.
The family debt that he's talking about, that is probably something to do with the quest Seize the Ambassador. This one is part of a chain, in which it seems like the Dark Iron Dwarfs that they're planning a large-scale attack on Ironforge. But by this time, Moira has already joined the Council of Three Hammers, and she's supposed to be leading together with the Wild Hammers and the Bronzebeards. This means that the Dark Irons were supposed to be allies of Ironforge, and as it turns out, Ambassador Slaghammer was actually working for the Twilight Hammer cult, and they quickly tossed him in jail. This Slaghammer might be the same, but is most likely a relative.
These buggers are suppressing Tyr's wards, so the Deacon can do his work below. We need to take them down. Start by dispelling the wards on the ritualists. A trap! Destroy the creature before it kills us! There we go. The path to the prison should be open. Well, if it ain't me old friend, we'd be doing the world a favor ridding it of this baddie. More of the Deacon's mind games. We could mass dispel him, or just fight through, but it wouldn't get too close.
Yes, the blade is right. I am unstoppable. Once Sakaj lives again, I will hold dominion over this world. Our old leaders chose to work with pawns. I choose the real power!
This is nae good.
Defend me, Blade! You said this would work!
You take care of the Deacon!
You think to stop me. With this weapon, I can do anything. Anything! You cannot trust your own mind! This shouldn't be happening! Why aren't you protecting me?
Weak and pitiful. The Twilight Father did not dare wield me, for he knew the price of failure.
Give me another chance! No! No!
You, on the other hand... Yes, I foresee us doing great things together. Take hold of my haft and I will aid you. For now.
Enough with your flirting. I know you think all dwarven women look the same.
Yes, we are eager to feast on the fallen Titan's minions. But first, Zakash. The cultists may try to stir him again, or he could awaken on his own. We must consume his essence to ensure he is gone forever. You know this must be done.
You did it! The cultists have run off! Ha! Ha 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 ha! Ye should get back to Foul. I'll use this Twilight Portal Stone for ye. Keep an eye on that blade, though. No telling what something that old be capable of.
Xal'atath has a mind of its own. Ignore its maddening whispers. Do not trust the lies that it spins. Take from it what you need, but always remember that the dark presence in the blade is not your ally. And so Shadow Priest will, as they adventure through the Broken Isles and take the battle to the Legion. The whispering done by the blade, it is quite interesting though. We're uncertain what exactly the weapon is, and of course we don't know when she's telling the truth and when she lies, but here are some of the more interesting whispers.
We may face some of my brethren in this conflict. A prospect that delights me. Their power will be mine. They will pay for what was done to me long ago.
What exactly was done to her? What was Xal'atath before she became this weapon?
The god of the deep writhes in his prison, breaking free ever so slowly. You should hurry and defeat the fallen Titan. There are greater battles yet to fight. Almost completely gone, as if it never existed. But the rift is deep and vast, and somewhere down there it stirs. Something has changed. The last prison weakens. We must prepare. It is ironic that the weakest of us may be the ultimate victor. Cthulhu, Yogg-Saron, Y'Shaarj, and... well... only one would remain to consume the world that was always meant to be. Xavius, running from one master to the next, scrambling for power, yet defeated again and again. The god of the deep picks a poor champion. Or is there something else at play?
Plans upon plans, schemes upon schemes, all trying to accomplish the same thing. Return to the glory days of the Black Empire. N'Zoth, apparently the weakest, is working his way out of his prison. It's uncertain when it's going to go down, but that's an expansion just waiting to happen. This could be with the other side of Azeroth, with N'Zoth, Naga, and perhaps two completely different realms, since the following whispers they mention...
Do not be impressed by tall icons of the Titans which stand here. The towers of sacrifice in Ny'alotha dwarf these pathetic temples. This city of elves pales in comparison to the sleeping city. I long for the day our masters can truly pass into this realm. You have only seen fragments, shadows, the faintest of echoes. Ask the ethereals what one of these manifestations is capable of.
The old gods are actually minions of the Void Lords, sent into our reality to corrupt the Titan spirits while it still slumbers inside the planet. The fear of such a thing actually happening is what caused Sargeras to form the Burning Legion and eradicate life from the universe before it was taken by the Void. Ny'alotha is a city that's been mentioned a couple of times now, especially with the puzzle box of Yogg-Saron, which could make for one hell of a city to play in.
How far the Manastorms have fallen. Relying on crude machines and weak arcane wizardry did them no favors. Still, they had their uses. Odin was a great enemy, until his own arrogance proved his undoing. You should ask him if he has considered Loken's final words to him. Go ahead.
You dare mock my imprisonment? Then receive Loken's punishment in his stead!
And with that, I think it's about time to stop listening to this blade. If you want to know more of the whispers, I'll link a related Wowpedia article in the description. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I really hope you enjoyed the story as much as I have. As always, subscribe if you like my videos, leave a like if you enjoyed this one, and until next time guys, see ya!